नमस्सर्वेभ्यः। रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमूः रामाय तस्मै नमः। रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं। रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर। गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे। न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो। Okay, so Adau, well, at the beginning, let me say sorry that I was not really able to prepare for this class because the last week was a very full week. So till the last moment, I thought I will get some time to prepare. After that, instead of cancelling the class, I thought we can at least do the Parayana of the Shabdas. So there will be no new lesson today. So we will just read the Shabdas. And then if you have any questions, either regarding this class or what we have been covering in this class, or in general about Sanskrit, of course at a level which could be useful to all students of the class. So you can ask if there are any, so I'll answer them. And that will be it for today. So we will read the Shabdas together first. Akarantah Pullingah Rama Shabdah Ramah Ramau Ramaah He Rama He Ramau He Ramaah Ramam Ramau Raman Ramena Ramabhyam Ramaihi Ramaya Ramabhyam Ramebhyah Ramat Ramabhyam Ramebhyah Ramasya Ramayoh Ramanam Rame Ramayoh Rameshu. आकारान्तः स्त्रीलिङ्गः रमा शब्दः रमा रमे रमाः हे रमे हे रमे हे रमाः रमां रमे रमाः रमया रमाभ्यां रमाभिः रमायै रमाभ्यां रमाभ्यः रमायाः रमाभ्यां रमाभ्यः रमायाः रमयोः रमाणां रमायां रमयोः रमासु. ईकारान्तः स्त्रीलिङ्गः नदी शब्दः नदी नद्यौ नद्यः हे नदी हे नद्यौ हे नद्यः नदीं नद्यौ नदीः नद्या नदीभ्यां नदीभिः नद्यै नदीभ्यां नदीभ्यः नद्याः नदीभ्यां नदीभ्यः नद्याः नद्योः नदीनां नद्यां नद्योः नदीषु. अकारान्तः नपुंसकलिङ्गः फलशब्दः फलं फले फलानि हे फल हे फले हे फलानि फलं फले फलानि फलेन फलाभ्यां फलैः फलाय फलाभ्यां फलेभ्यः फलात् फलाभ्यां फलेभ्यः फलस्य फलयोः फलानां फले फलयोः फलेषु. दकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः तद् शब्दः सः तौ ते तं तौ तान् तेन ताभ्यां तैः तस्मै ताभ्यां तेभ्यः तस्मात् ताभ्यां तेभ्यः तस्य तयोः तेषां तस्मिन् तयोः तेषु. दकारान्तः स्त्रीलिङ्गः तद् शब्दः सा ते ताः तां ते ताः तया ताभ्यां ताभिः तस्यै ताभ्यां ताभ्यः तस्याः ताभ्यां ताभ्यः तस्याः तयोः तासां तस्यां तयोः तासु. दकारान्तः नपुंसकलिङ्गः तद् शब्दः तत् ते तानि तत् ते तानि तेन ताभ्यां तैः तस्मै ताभ्यां तेभ्यः तस्मात् ताभ्यां तेभ्यः तस्य तयोः तेषां तस्मिन् तयोः तेषु. दकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः एतद् शब्दः एषः एतौ एते एतम् एनम् एतौ एनौ एतान् एनान् एतेन एनेन एताभ्याम् एतैः एतस्मै एताभ्याम् एतेभ्यः एतस्मात् एताभ्याम् एतेभ्यः एतस्य एतयोः एनयोः एतेषाम् एतस्मिन् एतयोः एनयोः एतेषु दकारान्तः स्त्रीलिङ्गः एतद् शब्दः एषा एते एताः एताम् एनाम् एते एने एताः एनाः एतया एताभ्याम् एताभिः एतस्यै एताभ्याम् एताभ्यः एतस्याः एताभ्याम् एताभ्यः एतस्याः एतयोः एनयोः एतासाम् एतस्याम् एतयोः एनयोः एतासु दकारान्तः नपुंसकलिङ्गः एतद् शब्दः एतत् एते एतानि एतत् एनत् एते एने एतानि एनानि एतेन एनेन एताभ्याम् एतैः एतस्मै एताभ्याम् एतेभ्यः एतस्मात् एताभ्याम् एतेभ्यः एतस्य एतयोः एनयोः एतेषाम् एतस्मिन् एतयोः एनयोः एतेषु दकारान्तः त्रिषु लिङ्गेषु समानः युष्मद् शब्दः त्वं युवां यूयं त्वां त्वा युवां वां युष्मान् वः त्वया युवाभ्यां युष्माभिः तुभ्यं ते युवाभ्यां वां युष्मभ्यं वः त्वत् युवाभ्यां युष्मत् तव ते युवयोः वां युष्माकं वः त्वयि युवयोः युष्मासु दकारान्तः त्रिषु लिङ्गेषु समानः अस्मद् शब्दः अहम् आवां वयं मां मा आवां नौ अस्मान्नः मया आवाभ्याम् अस्माभिः मह्यं मे आवाभ्यां नौ अस्मभ्यं नः मत् आवाभ्याम् अस्मत् मम मे आवयोः नौ अस्माकं नः मयि आवयोः अस्मासु मकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः किं शब्दः कः कौ के कं कौ कान् केन काभ्यां कैः कस्मै काभ्यां केभ्यः कस्मात् काभ्यां केभ्यः कस्य कयोः केषां कस्मिन् कयोः केषु मकारान्तः स्त्रीलिङ्गः किं शब्दः का के काः कां के काः कया काभ्यां काभिः कस्यै काभ्यां काभ्यः कस्याः काभ्यां काभ्यः कस्याः कयोः कासां कस्यां कयोः कासु मकारान्तः नपुंसकलिङ्गः किं शब्दः किं के कानि किं के कानि केन काभ्यां कैः कस्मै काभ्यां केभ्यः कस्मात् काभ्यां केभ्यः कस्य कयोः केषां कस्मिन् कयोः केषु तकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः भवत् शब्दः भवान् भवन्तौ भवन्तः हे भवन् हे भवन्तौ हे भवन्तः भवन्तं भवन्तौ भवतः भवता भवद्भ्यां भवद्भिः भवते भवद्भ्यां भवद्भ्यः भवतः भवद्भ्यां भवद्भ्यः भवतः भवतोः भवतां भवति भवतोः भवत्सु ईकारान्तः स्त्रीलिङ्गः भवती शब्दः भवती भवत्यौ भवत्यः हे भवति हे भवत्यौ हे भवत्यः भवतीं भवत्यौ भवतीः भवत्या भवतीभ्यां भवतीभिः भवत्यै भवतीभ्यां भवतीभ्यः भवत्याः भवतीभ्यां भवतीभ्यः भवत्याः भवत्योः भवतीनां भवत्यां भवत्योः भवतीषु okay. So for those who came in late, I'm sorry that there will be no new lesson today because I was not able to prepare for the class through the week. So it was already too late to inform people also. So we just had this Shabdapaaraayanam. So we will have classes next week as usual. So in the meantime, if you have all, if you have any questions regarding either the portions that we have been covering in this class or in general regarding any basics of Sanskrit, so you are free to ask. Now there's a question here which says, please give all Vibhakti forms of Parashu and Akshi. Parashu Shabdaha, Guru Shabdaha. It is like a normal Ukaranta Shabda, like the normal Ukarantas, like Shambhu or Guru. Parashuhu, Parashu, Parashavaha. He Parasho, He Parashu, He Parashavaha. Parashum, Parashu, Parashun. Parashuna, Parashubhyam, Parashubhihi. Parashave, Parashubhyam, Parashubhyaha. Parashoh, Parashubhyam, Parashubhyaha. Parashoh, Parashvoh, Parashunam. Parashau, Parashvoh, Parashushu. So it's a normal Ukaranta Shabda. The Akshi Shabda is an Ikaranta Napumsakalinga. So it goes like Akshi Akshini, Akshini, Akshi Akshini, Akshini in the first two cases. Then Akshna, Akshibhyam, Akshibhihi, Akshne, Akshibhyam, Akshibhyaha, Akshnah, Akshibhyam, Akshibhyaha, Akshnah, Akshnoh, Akshnam, Akshni, Akshani, Akshnoh, Akshushu, Akshishu. Sorry. So,
Hello,
yes,
can you hear
Rama.
me?
Yes.
Yeah, I have a general question.
Hmm.
Say, top, dap, chop, and niche, neen, neep. These are all, the ikarantar, akarantar added to get feminine forms, right?
Hmm.
When you do that, for example, is
Hmm.
it Sita or I mean Sita? It should be Sita, but in wherever I read, they always say they don't put uh, the Akaranta, but Sita or Lakshmi or Gauri like that. They use the short, even in Telugu, which is my mother tongue. We don't use the Ikaranta. We use only Ikar. I think it is the same thing in Tamil. I may be wrong, but why so?
If you're talking about the regional languages, see, each language will have it. Say the word Sita in Tamil, all akarantas are converted to aikarantas. They call it as Sitai, Radhai, etc. In Kannada, it is all converted to A. Say Site, Radhe, etc. So it depends
That,
on
that
the language. It's
no, that's for what do you call Sambodhana Prathama. I'm not saying
no, it's not
Sambodhana Prathama.
Sambodhana. It is Prathama Vibhakti. So the Prathama Vibhakti form in Tamil it
Mm.
becomes I, or in Kannada it becomes A. I don't know what is in Telugu. If you say it might be Hasva
It
Akara.
is
Yeah.
Sita. I mean, without any Dirgha, it is Sita or Lakshmi or Gauri or Sumati or
So see, regional languages we cannot say. I mean, they have their
but
own pattern.
as far as Sanskrit is concerned, it should
Sanskrit,
always be Dirgha, right?
yes, we don't have any Hrasva Akaranta Strilingas. In Ikaranta, definitely we have Ikaranta Strilingas like Mati or Bhakti or Buddhi. So there is no Hrasva Akaranta Strilinga. That is fine. But all other
But
antas are there. Ikaranta is
if
definitely there. Yes.
if you divide Ikaranta into two categories, one is like persons, that's always Dirgha, but Mati, Bhakti, these are all not, like human
See,
beings. That's,
even that generalization might not work. Say if you have something like Sumati, which can be a name. Shobhana Matihi Yasya. Yasyaha. So it's not like if it's a proper name. It depends on the kind of the word. You will have to look at the derivation of the word to uh,
yes, yes.
know it.
So
So there is
absolutely
no
there are.
akaranta, hrasvakaranta strilingas are not there. So any hrasvakaranta will be converted into a. Okay. So that's the only thing that's the only generalization which can be drawn. The other thing will depend on that particular word. Okay.
So it is because I can surely say that probably 85-90% of the words that are derived in Telugu are from Sanskrit only, but
Yes.
they
Yeah, I mean, it
probably
happens in
most of
all
the
Indian language. I mean, it
yeah.
might be derived, the Pratipadika will be derived, but the Vibhakti or the ending will, be characteristic of that regional language. That is commonly found in the Indian languages. So it is
Okay.
something to
So
do
as
with
far as
that language.
so categorically we can say that in Sanskrit there is no akaranta strilinga, but in
Yes.
ikaranta there could be like lat,
Oh,
mati, bhakti,
there are a
sumati,
lot
etc.
of Ikaranta Strilingas. Lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah, but no Akaranta Strilingas. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's the question I had.
Yes. Okay. So now there are a few other questions. Um, are avyayas to be considered as namapadas? Uh, yes, avyayas are technically namapadas because I mean they are also treated as I said. Words are all of only two kinds. One is subantam and tingantam. So any word to be used has to be either of them. So avyayas come under subantas. That is, they are namapadas. We add the way which we do in Vyakarana is we add the supratyayas to them and to delete them. So because of the supratyaya which was added, they become subantas. Okay. So they are definitely namapadas, but their form will not change because the pratyaya is deleted. There is no uh, change in form in any linga, vachana, vibhakti. That is why we say sadrisham trishu lingeshu sarvasu cha vibhaktishu vachaneshu cha sarveshu yat na vyeti. That which does not change is called an avyaya. As regards the meaning, I mean, yes, they do not have vibhakti pratyayas to tell their, anvaya to others, other words, but it depends on each avyaya. I mean, the avyayas themselves, the meaning, they are very, if you know the meaning of the anvaya, their position should be fairly clear, or what is their this one. So it is not necessarily that their position has to be fixed in a sentence. I mean, of course, cha we always position after whatever we are combining, but it is not necessarily that you have to place them in a particular order. They have, I mean, depending on the meaning of the avyaya, you cannot, I think, draw a generalization for that. Okay. So now next, there is a question. When we hear a name like Ramaha and not the Pratipadika, how do we figure out its Pratipadika and Lingam? So there's only one way to it. Uh, the way is to know the general forms of the common types. I mean, like we are doing the Shabdapaaraayanam of these words. There are more words. I mean, this is only the first very basic set. So the next set will have the common words. So if you have any book like the Shabda Manjari, they will list the common ajantas, halantas, and again the Vishesha ajantaha, Vishesha halantaha. If you are familiar with these patterns, looking at the Prathama Vibhakti form, you can generally take a guess. Generally, you can take a guess. Okay, it will be, say, if it is something ending in aha, it will either be akaranta or be sakaranta. Say a word like manaha. It is, you either look it under mana or look it under manas. Okay, either one can be correct. Okay, so you will have a general idea of what could be the anta. So once you have that, you can look up the kosha. Say there is something like manaha. You take up a kosha and start looking at under man or manas. So you will eventually find that it is manas and the linga. As soon as you find the word in the kosha, you will also get the linga. Okay. Uh, so there is another question related. Can avyayas ever be declined? No. There are no avyayas do not. No avyayas have a declension because avyayas will never take the supratyayas. Okay. Mm, okay. Um, so there are quite a few questions. I'll take them one by one. Definitely. I mean, we have the time. I don't have a problem with time, so I will take them. So there is a Yes, there's a question on when Bhavan can have a Sambodhana, why doesn't Tvam have one? As a question in the Sambodhana thing. See, there is a rule in Vyakarana which says there are those 8 Sarvanamas, the Tad, Etad, Yad, Adas, Idam, Adas, and uh, Yushmad, Asmad. Those 8 words do not have usage in Sambodhana. Okay, that is the only reason you can give. It's not like it should not have a Sambodhana form. There is no usage of them in Sambodhana, what we call the personal pronouns for those. Bhavan is strictly not such a word, even though it is used to say you. It is used in other cases like Atra Bhavan to refer to he and all that. So it does have it. So it depends purely on usage. It's only the Tyad, Tad, Yad, Etad, Yushmad, Asmad, and sorry, what's that? I thought there is a list of the 8 words which do not have the Sambodhana forms. Okay. So there's a question, all forms of rochate in the present tense. So rochate is a normal atmanepadi, if you have ever heard of the atmanepadi dhatus. So rochate, rochete, rochante, rochase, rochethe, rochadhve, roche, rochavahe, rochamahe. So they are the forms. So it's a normal atmanepadi dhatu. Okay. Venkateshwaran Mahodaya, you have a question?
Yes, madam. In the Tritiya Vibhakti Ekavachana,
Hmm.
sometimes ending is ne, sometimes ne. What, how it is decided, or just by practice you have to learn that?
You mean the ne and the ne?
Ah,
The
ne.
nakara
Yes.
and nakara. Okay,
Yes.
I'll come to that. Yes. Uh, so there is this general question. I think it will be pretty useful to all of you. Where to use na and where to use na. So it happens in both the Tritiya and also in the Shashti, say Ramanam and Devanam. So that can be understood at 2 levels. The first one is, I think, what most of you should be familiar with. Just one moment. So the first level of thing which is generally thought is if there is r or sh in a word, the repha or murdhanya shakara in a word, so the word will take nakara. So the nakara will get converted into nakara. So that is why we have ramena. And similarly for shakara, you have something like pushpena. Okay, so that's the one. I mean, at the initial stage, you can either look for r or sh in the word. So then the presence of repha or shakara in a word will generally lead to nakara. Okay, that's at the first level. But then you do see some words like, say, you have maharajena, where there is ra. Okay, but you still do not find the nakara. So the more exact rule would be, you have a r and you have a n. Okay, next to it. Following the repa, you have a nakara. You should also have a look at what comes in between repa and nakara. Okay. So if the letters which fall in between Repha and Nakara belong to the following, there is something called at, sorry, or Kavargaha or Pavargaha. Okay, so those three are what we consider. So at, if you are familiar with the Maheshwara Sutras, you will understand what at is. If not, at generally means the swaras and hayavara. Okay, so at is all swaraha plus hayavara. If any of these letters fall in between repha and nakara, then the na will be converted to na. Okay, that is the exact rule. If the letters which fall in between are anything else, any letter is out of this set, then there is no conversion of nakara to nakara. So if you look at Ramena, the letters in Ramena, so you have R and A, M, A, N. So in between Repha and Nakara, you have three letters, A, M, A. Now A is a swara, M belongs to Pavarga, and A is again a swara. Therefore, it is converted. Okay. But if you look at Maharajena, between R and N, we have R, A, J, A, N. So A, J, A. Now this J does not belong to this set. It is neither swara nor these, nor kavarga nor pavarga, and therefore the nakara is not converted to nakara. It is the same case with pushpena. So between sh and n, if all letters fall into any of these three categories, the na is converted to na. Otherwise, it is not converted to na. Okay, so that is the general uh, rule. Okay, so as long as you are talking of a single word, okay, your repha and your nakara is in the single word. Okay, now as soon as you are talking about samasas where they are in different words, then these rules will not apply. That will require some more study to understand where there will be natva, where not. In a single word, as in I'm talking about vibhakti pratyaya, mainly for the vibhakti pratyaya this rule is useful. But if you look at the uh, samasta padas, like there is trinayanam. Okay, so three is a different word, nayana is a different word. So in that case, natva will usually not apply. Okay, it will apply in a few exceptional cases. But if the repha and nakara are in two different words, then the sutra, I mean natva, that is conversion of nakara to nakara, will not happen. Okay, that's a normal case because the sutra says samana pade. In the same word, if you have the repha or shakara and nakara, the conversion will happen. Otherwise, it will not. Okay, it need not be only vibhakti. Even in a name, I mean anywhere like Krishna, you have Krishu and Na. Because there is shakara, the na has been converted to na and it is Krishna. But if you do the Krishnena, if you take the Tritiya Vibhakti of Krishna, so as you can see there is a sh and then n, a, n. Between this shakara and this nakara, there are these two letters. This n does not belong to any of these three categories. Okay, so that is why this nakara does not, it doesn't become Krishnena, it is Krishnena. So always the thing to check is between either r or sh and nakara, what are the letters? If the letters belong to any of these three categories, you can convert them into nakara, otherwise you cannot. Okay, if there is no repa or shakara, there will definitely not be a nakara. Okay, so that is okay. That's one point which I hope. Uh, okay. Okay, I'm looking at the other questions. Just one moment. So, Radhika, you had a question? Radhika Nagini?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know you had called my name. Yeah,
Yes.
in an earlier class, you had mentioned that you would perhaps be taking a set of classes for Krudanta Pratyayaha. Would that be in the works?
Yes, I mean, I've always wanted to do this thing on Kradantas. Maybe once this course, we finish the Vibhaktis, maybe we can have that. I'm not yet sure, but I do plan to have a class on Kradantas to deal with the, say, various Krit Pratyayas and how they are used in a sentence.
Then second question in connection with the avyayas we were talking about now.
Hmm.
In a text I had come across tavata,
Hmm.
and tavat, yavat and all is an avyaya, no?
No, they are not avyayas. You can have tavantam or tavata, tavate. So that much,
So these are
but
not,
it's not
sorry.
an avyaya
So when
because
do we, this tavata is not the same as, it's not coming from tavat, is it?
it is tavan, tavantau, tavantaha. See, tavat, it has forms in all three lingas. It's like an adjective which is that much. So you can say tavat dhanam or say what to say tavati, whatever. I mean, I'm gonna think immediately. So tavan padarthaha or anything. So tavata dhanena kritam. You can use it. It's an adjective. It's a basic adjective. It is not a uh, this one. Not an
Avyaya.
avyaya. No.
So tavat is not an avyaya.
No. It is not.
Yavat tavat,
No. See, in yavat
it's
tavat,
not.
you're just using it as a, in prathama vibhakti. That's it. So it's not.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
Okay. Thank you.
You can, I mean, it need not even be yavat tavat. It can be, say, yavati vrishtihi tavat sasyam. So, as
Okay.
and so on. So, it's just a measure. So, it can be used in all three lingas. It's an adjective.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Uh, okay. Now, since we did natva, there is one more question regarding that. In Dvitiya Vibhakti Bahuvachanam, the natva does not apply. No. In the n, when nakara is at the end of a pada, like Raman, natva will not apply. Okay, so whether there is repa or not, the dvitiya vibhakti bahuvachana, the n will never have nakara, whatever it is, because the padanta at the end of the word nakara will not get converted to nakara. Okay. Um, okay. So uh, there is a question. Why it, which is it, anye kakaha or anyaha kakaha? The word anya is a sarvanama. So sarvaha sarvau sarve. Similarly, anyaha anyau anye iti rupani. So it will be anye kakaha or whatever, anye janaha, other people. So anya is a sarvanama shabda. There's a question, what is the Samskrita equivalent for adjective and adverb? Adjective is a visheshanam. Adverb is a kriya visheshanam. Say shighram gacchati, mandam vadati. Ityadishu. So anything which is directly qualifying the kriya pada is called a kriya visheshana. Okay. Shuddham likhati, samyak pathati. All those. So it is a kriya visheshana. Visheshana and kriya visheshana. Okay. Uh, Okay, so next there is a question. The first shloka, the Mangala shloka which we do, the Gurureva Gatihi. So is it Mama Pahi Guru or Mam Pahi Guru? So there are two possible answers there. First thing, the Mama need not be related to Pahi Guru. Naguroh Paramam Shishurasmi Guroho Mama. So Mama Guroho Ityatra Anvayaha iti ekam uttaram. So the mama is not connected to pahi. But even if it is connected to pahi, there is nothing wrong, because we have a concept called sheshe shashti. In general, this one, shambhoho charanayoho bhaje. I uh, bow down to the feet of Shambhu. So there is a prayoga with the Shashti Vibhakti instead of Dvitiya. Okay, so most of the Karakas, they can take Shashti in specific cases when the Karaka is not intended. So in that way, the Mama Pahi can also be justified. Of course, the normal thing would be Mam Pahi. There is no doubt about that. Mam Pahi is always correct. But Mama Pahi can be justified, or you can relate the Mama to a different word in the shloka. Okay. So there's a question, will there be a class tomorrow continuing the Tinganta Prakriya? Yes, definitely, because I had already prepared the last week, so I have the material. So tomorrow's class is still on. Can we say Namaha Guru is a question? Yes, you can. Namaha is a full stop. Guru. So Tubhyam, Hey Guru, Tubhyam Namaha. In that case, we will take the adhyahara of something like Tubhyam. So you cannot directly relate Guru to Namaha by using Sambodhana, but you can definitely say Guru is just a Sambodhana, and then Namaha, meaning Tubhyam Namaha, will always be there. Okay. Uh, So there is a question on karma pravachaniyas. Definitely, please send me an email, so I'll reply, because it is like completely out of thing for this class, because it will take quite some time to explain what are karma pravachaniyas and to bring in their context. So please send me an email. I'll answer that. So there is a question again on avyayas. The question being the swaha and swadha. Like say you have in the Lalita Sahasranama the Swaha Swadha Matirmedha. So when it is being used as a samnya, it's a different thing. It will be an akaranta strilinga. So the words which are used to indicate the swahakara in the yajnas or homas, they are definitely different. So in that case, there are avyayas. So as Shadagopanji points out, there are avyayas like chirena or chirat, etc. So we call them as the Vibhakti Pratirupaka avyayas. So there are some avyayas which appear as if they are a particular Vibhakti, like Chirena. Chirena is an avyaya. It is not Tritiya Vibhakti of Chira. Okay. So similarly, Chirat is an avyaya. So there are some avyayas which resemble Vibhaktiyanta forms, but which are actually avyayas. In case of these words like swaha, swadha, they might be avyayas in some particular context and might not be in other cases. Okay. Okay. So there is one more question. The Maharajnya or Maharajena, for the word Rajan, it is Maharajena. The word Rajan is Nakaranta. So the forms are Raja Rajanau Rajanaha, Rajanam Rajanau Rajnyaha, Rajnya Rajabhyam Rajabhihi, etc. But whenever the word Rajan comes as a part of a samasa, especially the Tatpurusha samasa, it becomes Akaranta. So it is Maharajaha, not Maharaja. So the forms will be like Rama Shabda, Maharajena, Maharaja, Rajabhyam, Maharajaihi, etc. Okay. So they are changes which happen when there is a samasa. Okay. At the end of a samasa, the ending will get changed. Okay. There is a question in Ktavatu, Patha becomes Pathitavan. How does the E come there? Okay. So there are some dhatus which take E, like say Patha becomes Pathita and Likha becomes Likhita. Okay. But if you have Labha, it becomes Labdha. Okay. And Drishya becomes Drishta. So there are some cases where there is E and there are some where there is no E. It depends on there is a classification of dhatus or categorization called Set, Anit and Vet. So Set dhatus are those dhatus which take the ikara, Anit are those which do not take, and Vet are those which optionally take the ikara. So it is not something, I mean, the rules are not, it's not like you cannot sum it up in one or two sentences. So maybe, I mean, if we ever do a thing on kridantas, we can have those. The normal way to find out is if you have a dhatu patha, the list of dhatus, it will always mention whether the dhatu is set or vet or anit. Okay. So that knowing if the dhatu is set or vet or anit, you can use them. Another way is if you know the form, I mean by this, if you know a pathita, you can guess that it is set and use it accordingly. Okay. So in initial stages, you will have to rely on the dhatu patha. Okay. So there is a question. There are names like Kanva, where na is coming without ra or sha. How do we know there is na coming naturally or being converted from na? Well, you will not know. I mean, if it is a Vibhakti Pratyaya, then you will know that it is originally na and it has been converted to na. In other cases, you will have to know the derivation of the word. And anyway, I mean, knowing whether this is coming from na or original na does not make a difference in such cases. In Kanva, or even in a word like Krishna, whether it is originally Nakara or coming from na does not make a difference. Or where does it make a difference? Where there is the possibility of both. So then there can be confusion which one to use. So there you can decide. For other cases, if you look at the derivation, you will know, but it might not be necessary also. Okay. So there is a question. Kriya Visheshana, we were talking about adverbs. So do they fall in Dvitiya always? Yes, mostly Kriya Visheshananam Karmatvam Klibatacha is the rule. So they behave like Karma Padas. So mostly they take Dvitiya, but there are also Tritiya cases. Say Sukhena Gacchati, Dukkhena Roditi, etc. So that is a special rule in Tritiya. There is a particular Gana or set of words for which there is Tritiya. Otherwise, it is usually Dvitiya. Okay. So when we say at, when we were talking of at in the Natva, do we mean all forms of all vowels? Yes. At will take all vowel. Any form of any vowel can be considered. Okay. Sharada, do you have a question? Sharada Gopalan, Prashna अस्ति वा? You are muted. Yes.
No. The explanations are very, very useful, quite interesting.
Thank you, because I was just wondering, because I mean it's going like very wide range. So, but yes, maybe hopefully it will be useful to some people at least. So, yes, Meenakshi, you have a question?
Rajan is Shabda.
Yes.
Ragnya, Rajan, both forms are there?
No. Only Rajna.
Rajna.
Yes.
Rajan, there is no usage.
No. If it is plain just Rajan, there is no Rajena. Only if it is a samasa, you can have Maharajena or whatever Rajena, but not just plain Rajena.
So in Shabda Prayoga, there is no Rajena.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
There is another Rat Rajav Rajaha.
Yes.
There is another Shabda.
Yes. It's a Jakaranta Pullinga. So Rat Rajav Rajaha, Rajam Rajav Rajaha. Raja Radbhyam Radbhi. So that will no Rajena there also. It will be Raja. The Tritiya form will be Raja and not Rajena. No.
Then fourth case is Ragnya.
Raje.
Fourth, Chaturthi, Raje.
Raje. Raja radbhyam radbhihi. Raje radbhyam radbhyah. Rajah radbhyam radbhyah, etc. So there is no Rajena.
Rajah, Rajoho, Rajam.
Yes.
Raje,
Yes.
Rajo. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes, Radhika.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. Then Rajena should have nakara, no? Tavarga nakara.
No, it will not, because as we saw the
There's
word.
a.
Huh?
There's a in between.
There is not just a, there is also the j. I said you have to look at all letters. If any letter does not belong to these three classes, then it is out. Any
Okay.
intervening letter is not. All intervening letters should belong to these three categories. Only
Okay.
then there is
Thank you.
natva.
Thanks.
Yes. Okay. So there is a question. Etat karyam kashtaya bhavati. Chaturthi vibhakti we will see in the next class. So that is coming up. There's a question on asman naha or mama me. Where do we use the second form? I mean, there are, yes, some rules, but one general rule says when you are first referring to it, say aham, when you're using it for the first time, it has to be aham, the first form only. When we are using the same pronoun for the second time in a particular vakya khanda, say a particular paragraph, then you can use the second one. We call it the anuprayoga. So you will not use the second form when you're talking about it first. Okay. Say, for example, even in case of the etad shabda. Okay. Say, eshaha balaha. Okay. Etam balam pashya. So when we are referring to that for the first time, you say etam balam pashya. And the second time, enam balam vada. Okay. For the second time, you can use either one. So when you're using it for the first time, you use only the first form. That is what something called anuprayoga. Okay. But I mean, you generally see that there are cases where we use, it's not very strictly followed. So the say, forms like naha or vaha is used even without anuprayoga. Okay, like this one. What is this? The Pratyakshabhih prapannastanubiravatu vastabhirashtabhirishah. So he uses vaha, the Mangala shloka of the Shakuntalam. He uses vaha in the sense of Yushman, vaha patu. Okay. So they can be used. There is no. Uh, okay. So is there any question which I missed in this? Okay, yeah, there is one. Sorry. How to determine the linga from Amarakosha? There was a question. See, Amarakosha, he tells at the beginning. First thing is the grouping by looking at the other words or looking at the anta. Say, for example, Swaravyayam, Swar Avyayam. He clearly says it's Avyayam. Swarga Naka Tridiva Tridashalayaha. So, Tridashalayaha is Tridashalayaha. It's a Amara, this is a Pullinga word. So all those words are Pullingas. Amarakosha, Amarakara tells, the Amarasimha tells at the beginning that he will not do samasa for different linga words. So all words in that linga, in that samasa will belong to that linga. So that is one way. For specific cases, he does specify the linga. Say if it is not clear, so he will specify the linga. So if he has a linga specification, it is there. Otherwise, looking at the ending of the word, you can determine the linga, the common strilinga or napumsaka linga types. He will say, striyam, dyo divaudve striyam, klibe trivishtapam. So dyo and div, they are in strilinga. Klibe trivishtapam. The word trivishtapa is in napumsakalinga. So he has very clear indicators for the linga. Okay, so most of the cases you can find out the linga easily. Okay. So is there any other question which there was one question, sorry, on can I give information about sandhis? Well, it's a it's a separate course by itself because Sandhi is too huge to be. If you have a question regarding any particular Sandhi, maybe we can take it. But for a general thing on Sandhis, you can either go through the, we have a Sandhi product. The vyoma-samskrta-pathasala has a CD called Sandhi, which explains all Sandhis in detail with animations and many examples. So if you have that, it will be very useful. Okay. So otherwise, I think, in this case or in this particular stage, we cannot take up Sandhi in this. Right? Okay. So there is a question. Kta only karmani or kartari also, how to identify? Yes, there is the normal cases where we saw the kta and tavatu, like pathita and pathitavan. So the normal kta is karmani, but yes, there are cases where kta can be used in kartari. Okay, so uh, the two common cases where we saw where kta is used in kartarartha is for gatyarthaka dhatus, dhatus which mean movement. Say gataha, saha gataha means saha gatavan. Okay, saha agataha, te agataha. So in that cases for dhatus which mean to move, gatyarthaka dhatus, there is kartari kta pratyaya. Okay. And also for akarmaka dhatus, sometimes there is this one. So the most common use of kartarthaka kta is for gatyarthaka dhatus. There are a few other dhatus which will take. Okay, so they will have to be known specifically. So there is yes, Rao Mahodaya, no question.
Yeah. A few moments back, you said Asman Naha. When you refer to the first time, it's Asman, and then if it is a repetition, it is Naha. But I think I have read some slokas Patu Naha.
I myself don't know the Vaha, Patu. So it's not a very strict rule that is followed. The Kavis do use it even for the first time. So
No, Patu Naha. I'm not talking Vaha. Naha.
It's the same, like for all. It's not just Asman. For all cases where there are two forms, the sutra says anuprayoge. Generally, when we're using it for the second time or a repeated prayoga, but there are cases where they are used even the first time. So it's not a very strict rule which is followed in practice.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so it's Radhika. You have another question? Do you have a question, Radhika? No? Okay. So there are a few more questions. From Supratyayas, how to derive Strilinga and Napumsakalinga? Pratyayas. See, the derivation of Pratyayas is dependent both on the Linga and the Pratipadika. So the common set of Sup, Su, Aujas, Amauchas, whatever, the first 21 is common to all words. Okay, there is no change. But from these, they take on different modified forms. So if we do a class on the Shabdapaaraayanam, the deriving of the words, then you will know. So for each word, it will be different. They will take on different forms depending on both the Linga and the particular Pratipadika. Okay. So if you are interested with that, you can see we have the Siddhanta Kaumudi, the Shabda Prakarana, the Ajanta Prakarana and Halanta Prakarana. So he deals in detail with the Prakriya. Okay. You will find those in the vyoma-samskrta-pathasala. So there is no general rule or this for that. So it depends on both the particular word and the linga of the word. So there's one more question, should probably be the last. I thought the class will be over soon today, but there were quite some questions. So if you have more, we will definitely have another class where we can have questions. Okay. So I'll answer these questions for today. So there is a question, Vidya Sarvasya Bhushanam. There is a prayoga, Vidya Sarvasya Bhushanam. So why not Sarvanam Bhushanam? So you can use both. See, where do we use sarvaha and sarve? It's a question which is always asked. What, I mean, when it means all, so whether it is ekavachana or bahuvachana, what is the difference? See, the usage of ekavachana is when you are referring to something as a whole without stressing upon the individual parts. Say a group of people, okay, where you are not concerned. Say something like vanam, where you are referring to the forest as a whole without referring to the trees. So in that case, we use the ekavachana. But when we are using it with stress on the individual particles, so then we say survey. Okay. So it is called by the technical term Udbhuta Avayava Bheda and Anudbhuta Avayava Bheda, where the separation of the particles of a group is explicit or it's very clear, then we use Bahuvachana. So if it is not intended, it is just taking something as a whole, we use Ekavachana. So both are correct. There is also Dvivachana to refer to two groups, say uh, there are two opposing groups and you are referring to those as groups. You also uh, uh, refer to as dvivachana. Okay, that is how we have the different vachana prayoga of sarva. So both sarvasya bhushanam, sarvanam bhushanam are both correct. It's like what is the vivaksha or what the thing intends to say. Mm. So there's a question, how did Panini classify lingas? For example, Mati is Strilinga. So Panini does not deal with linga for most of the part. Okay, he doesn't give lingas for specific words, but there are sutras which give certain pratyayas in specific lingas. For example, in all words which end in ti, like gati, mati, bhakti, uh, whatever, all words ending in ti, the pratyaya is called ktin, and that pratyaya is given as striyam ktin. So that case it is a strilinga. Okay, so there are certain pratyayas which are specified as strilinga, so in that case they will definitely be strilinga. So there are of course the stri pratyayas themselves, so words ending in stri pratyayas will be strilinga. There is a work called Linganushasanam, said to be by Panini himself. It's like an appendix to Ashtadhyayi. So the Linganushasana has certain rules, like Ghaya Japaha Pumsi. Certain pratyayantas, a word ending in Ghai will be Pullinga, a word ending in Ach will be Pullinga. So in that cases we can know the Linga. But in general, the Bhashyakara says, Lingam Ashishyam. Lingas cannot be defined. Lokashrayatvat Lingasya. Okay, so because the linga depends on the prayoga, the usage in loka and not strictly on grammar, so Patanjali excludes lingas from the purview of Paninian grammar. So unless in cases where they are specified, there is no comprehensive dealing with lingas in Vyakarana. Okay, so the best resource for lingas is only Kosha. So Vyakarana can give guidelines for specific words, but not a comprehensive one. Okay. There's one more question. Between asau, ayam, and eshaha, are there any rules on their usage? There is one shloka. I don't remember the shloka right now. Idam pratyaksha darshane. So the word idam is generally used when you're seeing something directly. And I'm sorry, I don't remember the shloka. Maybe I'll quote that shloka in the next one. But the difference is, again, practically it is not clearly followed. Though all these words are used as paryayas of each other, saying asau or ayam or eshaha, they are generally used as uh, and then there is a question on So, there's a question for a beginner: in which order the courses one can take up under vyoma-samskrta-pathasala? And where the course is over, is everything available on the website? Yes, I mean, for all the completed courses, whatever material we have is available. So for beginners, there are two courses called Samskrita Balabodha and Prarambha. So for those, you can take up initially. And then there is the Vibhakti course. And the other courses are mostly for Vyakarana. I mean, if you're interested in learning Paniniya Vyakarana, for beginners, there is either Laghu Kaumudi or the Siddhanta Kaumudi Samya Prakaranam. Of course, there's a Tinganta Prakriya, which is also not for, I mean, can be understood by somebody who knows, has a fairly good knowledge of basic Sanskrit grammar. Okay. So for others, the basic beginner courses we don't have. I mean, that is why we started this Vibhakti. So under this series, we will have other courses for beginners without going into the Paninian grammar. We will have more such courses. Okay, so मम अन्तिमः प्रश्नः इदानीम् इत्यस्मिन् स्थाने सम्प्रति भवति वा? So yes, samprati is generally an avyaya which is used as idanim. Now, I'm not very sure if there are any specific rules which govern samprati. I'll again look at that and let you know. So there are two questions which I'll take in the next class about usage of samprati and the difference on the sarvanamas. Okay. Okay, so I think we will stop here with this last. Yes, Meenakshi.
Samprati is also a word.
No, samprati there is no word. So samprati is one. So from that you can derive sampratam. Okay, but there is no samprati as far as I know. So there is samprati and there is sampratam, something related to it.
Samprati correct meaning is now.
Samprati means now. Yes, just now idanim. Samprati vartaha shruyantam. I mean that's the most famous usage of samprati currently. But yeah. Okay. The question: any chance for Laghu Paniniyam? Well, I don't know. I mean, I myself have not seen, though Sri Ramana Sharma has been recommending that for a long time. So I don't know for now. Okay. So I think we'll stop here. So okay, at least I am happy. I mean, some of my guilt can be eased that I didn't waste 1 hour of people's time by not preparing for this class. So thank you. We'll stop here. If there are more questions, of course, we'll take them at the end of classes, or we can have another class for this discussion sometime later. Ramo Rajamanis sada vijayate Ramam Ramesham bhaje Rameणाभिहता निशाचरचमूः Ramaya tasmai namaha Ramannasti parayanam parataram Ramasya dasosmyaham Rame chittalaya sada bhavatu me Bho Rama mamuddhara गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोर्मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो. Thank you.